News Central now continues in the Rainbow Nation, where voting stations across South Africa will be open this weekend as thousands of prospective voters are expected to register to vote ahead of 2024's general election. The Electoral Commission says 23,296 polling stations will welcome eligible citizens during the exercise. Registration stations are set to operate between 8 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday. Meanwhile, the Home Affairs Department has expressed readiness to assist eligible voters who may need to collect identity documents over the weekend at 321 of its offices. And preliminary results show Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina took a predictable commanding early lead on Friday in his bid for re-election in a vote marked by low turnout and an opposition boycott. The 49-year-old rose to power on the Indian Ocean island in a 2009 coup and stepped down after almost 5 years as leader of a transitional authority, then won a 2018 election. The opposition says he should not have run again in Thursday's poll because he acquired French nationality in 2014, which they say automatically revokes his Malagasy one and creates unfair election conditions. He says both accusations are baseless political tactics. In the meantime, a day after the presidential elections, life appears to have returned to normal. In a recent development, Tanzania has issued a threat to expel Burundian refugees from its territory. And this decision has raised concerns about the fate of thousands of refugees who have sought shelter in Tanzania due to the ongoing political unrest in Burundi. The Tanzanian government cited security and economic reasons for this move, claiming that the country can no longer bear the burden of hosting refugees. However, humanitarian organizations and human rights advocates have expressed deep concern over the potential impact of on the lives and well-being of these vulnerable individuals. The international community is closely monitoring the situation, urging Tanzania to reconsider its decision and find alternative solutions that prioritize the safety and dignity of refugees. And I'm being joined live on the news by Emmanuel Ukashu, an advocate of the High Court of Tanzania. Glad to have you join me. Good morning.
Good morning, too. I'm happy to join you this very morning.
All right. Now, what legal implication does Tanzania's decision to expel Burundian refugees have?
First and foremost is that in 2018, Tanzania has withdrawn itself from the comprehensive refugee response framework. That means it is not mandatory for Tanzania, as the current procedures in humanitarian law and refugee law, that to be compelled to have asylum seekers or refugees in the country and borderline. But currently, in spite that the framework in domestic, we are dealing with the Ministry of Home Affairs. And talking about the Burundi has been one of we have been helping Burundi for quite some time, since 1972 in the first genocide, and in 1993 in the civil war that occurred in Burundi to date. In Nyarugurusi there, the same camp that is alerting, there are more than 100 refugees there. And in current status in Tanzania, in the legal framework, the Ministry of Home Affairs has not issued a formal statement. However, whether it is in the parliament prior sitting arrangement session or currently, it has not been displayed anywhere that there's something ongoing on that manner. So
Emmanuel,
the speculation...
if I may just quickly chip in there, but how does international law, for instance, protect the rights of refugees in a case like this?
Okay, in this first one, that the humanitarian law, especially the UNHCR, it has to find first the secure movement of the refugees, first to negotiate with the home country that has been seeking the hostage or been seeking helping, but also to create a camping nearby, whereby in international law, unlike to other domestication laws, that to be protected is sustainability. But also in Tanzania or in other way, there's the Organization of Immigration, which it has to take a board on this aspect to secure the sustainability. So in the international law or in the UNHCR refugee law, there's a lot to be done as to sustainability, because in international law, if one country does not like to take the refugee in not a compulsory or repatriation, then it's also a peace helping to seek a borderline or help for other country, or to look at the zone whereby there is no country demarcation and you place the refugee there in, and you can still care of them and look about them. So that's the situation. But also because prior, if the country has signed some comprehensive refugee laws, that means it attracts to sanction. Unlike the situation in our country now, Tanzania, we have also not signed that such a comprehensive refugee framework. So if we will be part of that member state agreement, it could emanate on that. But also there's a bilateral country state between Burundi and Tanzania, or country state, to see the mechanism of settling these things in diplomatic way or repatriating.
All right, one last question, Emmanuel. One last question, Emmanuel. What role, can the international community play in addressing these kind of issue and protecting the rights of refugees?
Okay, one is that first is to help the refugees to get the sustainability of, in spite of the current situation ongoing, but also to look for the home and the settlement of their refugees, but also to find a way to fund and look the organization to help people to fund them in a humanitarian situation, but also to put a social services for these people in order for them to not be discriminated or to not be devoid or to not be isolated from the community. So these are the key parameters that as the international organization has to play, and also to talk to the member state countries on how to have a mutual conversation on this such situation of the civilian. These are the key issues that the international community has to do in a current situation like this.
All right, thank you so much for your insight on the news. Emmanuel Ukashu, an advocate of High Court of Tanzania. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much too.